Oh boy, am I excited to talk to you about my top 5 favorite movie sequels. Okay, stop. Wait a second. I didn't phrase that very well, so let me just clear this up right away. I'm talking about my favorite sequel in a movie series. Or, to put it another way, my favorite part 2s. Why is it that the second movie in a series is almost always the most memorable, the best reviewed, or most well-liked of the bunch? Maybe it's because the world building and establishing of our hero was already done in the first film, so the second movie can devote a lot of real estate to developing the antagonist character and the conflict between them and the protagonist. Maybe? It probably depends on the sequel. Let's get this party started! Here are my top 5 favorite movie sequels, part 2s, whatever. Number 5, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. As a lifelong Captain America fan, this is pretty much the Captain America movie of my dreams. He talks like Cap, he fights like Cap, he's a human, he's vulnerable, the sequences are great, the spy thriller story is fantastic, the pace is wonderful. Look at this car chase, it's nearly 4 minutes long, it's one of the best action sequences in the movie, and Captain America isn't even in it and it still rocks! Anyway, I love this movie. Number 4, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Galloping around the cosmos may be a game for the young, but Admiral Kirk and the gang are gonna do it anyway. In this sequel to not only Star Trek the motion picture, but also to the original series episode Space Seed, Star Trek is really delivering. Even though Chekhov isn't in the Space Seed episode, and he's the one who first makes the connection, I don't care, this movie's amazing. The score is wonderful, the story's beautiful, it gets me every time, and by the end, how does Captain Kirk feel?
I feel young.
He feels young. Number 3, The Dark Knight. You know how I got these scars? Well, they're emotional, you can't see them, but probably from rewatching this movie over and over. Man, this movie can be brutal. I can't think of another movie where two people lose the love of their life at the same time and it's the same person. But it's also got a great score, a great cast, a great script, great action sequences. I still get confused by this line.
5 dead. 2 of them cops.
Okay, maybe we can figure it out. So Ramirez lives, but Two-Face kills Wirtz at the bar, Maroni's driver dies, presumably Maroni also dies in the crash. Oh wait, does this Maroni thug die too? I never noticed that before. And maybe Gordon is also counting the cop the Joker kills at the hospital. He doesn't specifically say he's counting Harvey's murders. It doesn't matter, this movie's wonderful. Number 2, Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Oh, this movie is so great. The asteroid field is easily one of my favorite bits of score and overall sequences in the entire franchise, but this, to me, is the movie that made Star Wars last forever. We really start to get into who the characters are and how they feel about things and each other. Darth Vader is revealed to us in this movie as an actual human for the first time, which obviously has repercussions for the franchise. Not to mention perhaps the most memorable reveal in the history of film. We meet Yoda, Lando, Boba Fett, but most importantly, The Empire Strikes Back paints this wonderful portrait of Luke Skywalker at this awkward stage in his development as both an impatient kid and an overly confident adult. Growing up, falling in love, finding out what matters. This movie's so good! Number 1, The Godfather Part II. Finally, we come down to it. The OG of great movie sequels. It's long and maybe a little unconventional, but hey, times are changing. The juxtaposition of Michael and Vito's journeys at similar ages is fascinating. Michael knows this. He told us in the first one, "My father's way of doing things are finished." Even he knows that. And here in the sequel, Michael is still striving to change his family. But it's taking longer and getting more dangerous as the stakes increase. While the first movie is often about how far Michael will go for his family, this second film sees Michael's greatest fear realized by the end. The destruction of the family unit. The deaths of his mother and more particularly his brother Fredo, the abortion and subsequent divorce from his wife Kay. It's all out of Michael's worst nightmares and it all comes about from Michael doing what he sees as what's right. Being strong for and protecting his family, just like his father did. But while his father's actions helped his family blossom, for Michael, working in a different time, finds that his plans, however successful, destroy the present-day Corleone family. Tragedy at its finest. Well, that's my top 5. But you didn't think I could really stop there, did you? It's time for the bonus honorable mention lightning round! Back to the Future Part 2. This movie is so much fun. Sometimes you'll see a sequel and say, hey, it's the same movie as the first one, but this movie literally goes back to the first movie. Back to the Future Part 2 is so good, it's the basis for Ant-Man's plan in Avengers Endgame.
Are you seriously telling me that your plan to save the universe is based on Back to the Future? Isn't it? No.
Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2 is like the first movie on steroids. Just look at this. You can't beat this. The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. I love how they start this movie with the dream and change the sequence just slightly. When the events actually occur in the Fellowship of the Ring, Frodo screams after Gandalf falls. But during his nightmare at the beginning of Two Towers, he already knows what's going to happen, so he screams before Gandalf falls. I love that. I love the editing, especially in the extended edition. And it's not over yet, man. Gandalf isn't finished with the Balrog. This is so exciting. Terminator 2. Okay, so parenting is different now than it was back in 1991. Little Jamie got to see Terminator 2 in the theater because it was the past. That's how it was. So let me tell you something. This movie freaked me right the out, and I loved every second of it. I can't remember seeing a movie before this that made my heart beat faster.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Except for maybe Aliens. Now, I saw this movie when it hit home video, which looks like it was probably in 1987, and it stressed me out so much that I think I was hiding behind the furniture. But before you go tearing me a new one, keep in mind, I think I was in first grade or something. Anyway, great movie. Game over, man. Game over. X-Men 2. So many wonderful character journeys. I know, the end is a lot like the end of The Wrath of Khan, but it's so effective. Great movie. The Hunger Games, Catching Fire. This one really caught me off guard. I was not expecting this movie to be great, but it's pretty great. Blade Runner 2049. This is another movie that I figured, well, at least it will have fantastic visuals, and it does, but it has a lot more. Kill Bill Volume 2. Volume 2 has its action set pieces, but it also has a ton of character development. It's a really interesting movie in its own right and a great sequel to boot. Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Well, I've already talked about this one, so I'll just point you over to that video if you want to hear me rant about how much I love subtext. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. Smash that like button, ring that bell, do all the things I totally know how all this works.